Good afternoon, everyone. This is a session, a webinar, lunchtime webinar on about the Community Connector program. If you want to jump onto our website, here is a code for you here. And just so you know that you'll be getting this slide deck at the end. Don't worry if you miss things or you need to take notes. I'd like to start with an acknowledgement of country and take a moment to reflect on the meaning of place and connection and recognise the traditional lands on which we're meeting today. My place of belonging is in Ballingen, New South Wales, a small rural town situated in the hinterland of the mid-north coast of New South Wales. I'm on Gumbaynggirr country, and I wish to acknowledge their elders, past, present and emerging, and all the elders of all the lands we work, live and learn on, and pay my respects to their ancestral spirits with gratitude and respect. And that is my home that we were just seeing. So what is the Community Connector program? So we're going to talk about its foundations. We're going to talk about where the model came from, which is Marathon Ontario, and the success that they've been having. Talk about the Establishing the Community Connector program that we've developed in Australia, and quickly go through the ready checklist so that you can get a feeling for what's in that program. And so I just want to start with a little bit about myself and my background and why we're doing this work. So I've been living in rural Australia for over 20 years, and I'm strongly committed to addressing the inequities in rural Australia through creating evidence-informed solutions. I'm a social scientist, so I'm interested in understanding human experience and why people do what they want to do, what they do. I'm a qualitative researcher, and I use grounded theory methodology to explore people's lived experiences. And I draw on that data to create theory, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, the theory that I've created, the Attract, Connect, Stay framework or theory. The most famous grounded theorist is Brené Brown, and her work on vulnerability, courage and shame. And she's probably the most well-known in that. So a grounded theory is all about resonance and fit, and people should be able to see themselves in that, in the theory that's been created. Attract, Connect, Stay framework that underpins the Community Connector program was developed from my PhD, which I completed in 2016. So it was a grounded theory study on what factors influenced rural health professionals to stay or leave. And just some of the key findings were that all new staff experienced a period of adjustment in the first 12 months. Initial 3 months was really a rabbit in the headlights experience for many, a little less so if you were experienced in a worker, but more so for new grads, etc. And for people relocating, they were very focused on addressing their basic needs, so housing, schooling, partner employment, etc. Then from the 4 to 12 month period, there was a settling in process, both in the role and if there were newcomers in the community. And generally, those that stayed over this period were becoming increasingly comfortable in the role and the town. And that's when people began to consider whether they were going to stay or not. If you've got turnover earlier than this 12-month period, mostly it's usually an organisational issue, a team-based issue, something is a red flag for having a good look what's happening in the job and in the team. Another key finding was that people were very focused on settling into the job and were willing to put up with some personal dissatisfaction in those first 12 months. But after 12 months, that completely changed, and people were more concerned with having their personal needs met, and the job was usually, by that stage, they decided was good enough. Excuse me while I just turn my heater off. And so here's the theory in an infographic for you. So supporting staff, the theory was about rural-based professionals' stay or leave decisions hinge on their gap between their life expectations and the realities of the job and rural living experience. In terms of professional expectations, these were the things that I identified: scope of role, workplace relationships, access to continuing professional development and career advancement opportunities. And how strongly these were experienced depended on career stage and time in the job. And all of them added up to professional satisfaction. In terms of the personal factors, this was about social connection and the consideration of the place and whether it was able to meet future life expectations, both for the individual worker and for any family members accompanying them. Sorry. And these were influenced or experienced differently depending on time living in the town and life stage, and that all added up to personal satisfaction. And as I said, after 12 months, usually this would begin to being assessed fairly regularly and how well these life aspirations were being met. The PhD study found that newcomers initially felt alienated. They experienced rural towns as welcoming, but not always inclusive. But the good news was that their sense of belonging tended to increase over time if we could get them to stay. And three primary elements that most significantly impacted job and personal satisfaction were life stage, career stage, and degree of familiarity with place and rural living. And today the Community Connect program really focuses on this third one, degree of familiarity with place and rural living. So I just want to dive in a little bit more on that one. Of course, all this research has been published, and along today you'll see references to various papers and reports. So familiarity with place and rural living, why is that important? This is important because the less familiar people are with the place and the cultural experience of rural living, the more support they're going to need to settle and connect. So locals, and this is over the most intense that we know are overseas newcomers. They'll need a lot of support, and locals usually need none. But an interesting group is ex-local newcomers. Even though they have connections to town, depending on the length that they've been away, often they need a top-up and need support in that place. So often they're hidden. People think they're doing okay, but in fact their social group needs a lot more work. So the Attract, Connect, Stay framework came out of my PhD findings, and it was because I felt a call to action, that there was an urgent need for a framework to support successful attraction and retention of rural health professionals. And this was person-centred, place-based, and community-focused. This is the Attract, Connect, Stay framework. Just so you know, in academia, it is published as the Whole of Person Retention Improvement Framework. But in the big wide world, we call it the Attract, Connect, Stay framework. And I just quickly want to run through this. There are three key domains: the workplace and organisation, community and place, and role and career. Workplace and organisation, for individuals to be attracted and to want to stay in an organisation, they need to consider they're working in a friendly, supportive, inclusive workplace. For newcomers to newcomer staff, they need to feel settled in, be socially connected, and experience a sense of belonging increasingly over time. And for everyone to want to stay in a job and in a town, they need to see that there are opportunities to build skills and access career pathways in place. So within either the organisation or the rural town or within the region. And all of those three things are required to have attraction and retention. Since when I completed my PhD in 2016, I subsequently have been implementing the Attract, Connect, Stay framework with rural health services and rural communities. And we've developed 5 pillars for implementing the Attract, Connect, Stay framework. And the colours coordinate with those 3 modules. So in workplace and organisation, so it's the employer's responsibility to attract a strong pool of ideal candidates, recruit the best fit candidate. And when we talk about fit recruitment. We're talking about fit for community, fit for place, as much as we are talking about fit for the job, fit for the team. Settle and connect into the organisation. We need to ensure that employees have good onboarding and support. So all three of these things are the responsibility of organisations. The Settle and Connect component of the Attract, Connect, Stay framework is the community-centred aspect. And this is about settling and connecting new employees into local communities and their family members. This is very much a whole of community response. And the stay part, it again comes back to organisations and collaborations with other health services or organisations within the industry that you're working in, for providing them support. And this is usually about meaningful careers and supporting their desire to stay. So when I was implementing this program as a pilot with 2 public health services in Victoria. After my PhD, I was working in the University Department of Rural Health in the Shepparton area. And the 2 rural health services said to me, public health services said, how do we do the community in place part? And I looked at the research. There was something about refugees, but not much about skilled workers and settling and connecting them. So I applied for a Churchill Fellowship and was successful, and went to Canada to try and understand rural community-driven methods to boost social ties and sense of belonging for new health workers and their families. I got to travel all around Canada, and I really wanted to pinpoint strategies for strengthened integration and social connection, and bring that home and to refine that pilot that I was talking about that was focusing on allied health attraction and retention. I found in a small town in Marathon, Ontario, the Community Connector program. This is the Community Connector up on the far right side. That's Brett Redding, and he was involved in implementing this program that was established by his community. So these were the things this program does. It implements attraction strategies targeting health professionals who are a strong fit for the job and the community. And this is Brett at a workshop at a medical conference, I believe, with Marathon on his promoting Marathon and all its benefits. He provides individually tailored support to health professionals and family members with settling in, including partner employment and helping them all to make social connections. And another key aspect is in this stay area, he identifies and helps address at a whole of community level systemic problems around local service and infrastructure that he identifies as negatively impacting attraction and the personal satisfaction of professionals. And this can be things like housing, schooling, childcare, but they need systemic whole of community solutions. And the community connectors are very well versed in how these problems play out in both attraction and retention. So the secret sauce ingredients of this program was it's community-led and funded. It has a management committee made up of key stakeholders, primarily health and local government. It's a contractor position, and Brett works to deliverables. The hours are flexible because he needs to be highly responsive to the needs of the individuals coming. It's a custom service concierge service, so any and every need can be addressed, and it's underpinned by an assets-based community development approach. And they celebrate successes. So outcomes are they've been very successful in attracting and retaining health professionals, GPs, allied health, nursing. And because of that stable workforce, it's given them time to build a pipeline of medical students and GPs in training. And there are many visiting locums regularly as well now. So this is all about having a pipeline of health professionals who have experienced the joys of Marathon. So as a result, they've had a fairly stable health workforce. as well as even when they've had some turnover, they've been very successful in recruiting in a timely way. And so they've really had no substantive shortages since the program began in 2009. That's allowed them to have a broadened range of health services on offer. So more cancer services are continuing, midwives, etc. So programs that other places in Northern Ontario don't have access to. So when I came back to Australia, I needed to write my Churchill Fellowship report, and I recommended that we put in place we pilot this program in Australia. So I was successful in receiving funding from the Foundation for Rural and Regional Renewal for $150,000 for a 2-year pilot. This allowed us to develop a blueprint for establishing the Community Connector program in a rural community. It was a whole of community place-based, community engaged approach, just like the Attract, Connect, Stay framework. And it was about establishing and sustaining the Community Connector program, and it used the marathon blueprint as a starting point. It was the project sponsor was SARA, the Allied Health Rural Health peak organisation. It also had the New South Wales Rural Doctors Network, Regional Australia Institute, University of New England, and Primary Health Network in the Hunter New England region, being part of a project advisory group. It had 5 of us were researchers on it, myself, Doctors Waller, Boyce, Moran, and Associate Professor Malatsky, all of us with extensive rural health workforce strengthening expertise. Dr. Moran was the evaluator for this program, and here is her infographic for what was happening, the relationships with the Community Connector. The Community Connector was the sort of underpinned the whole Community Connector program, and they had connections to community groups and local businesses, employers and workplaces, councils and industry partners, and those community rural leaders, they were the Community Connector provided support to new to area employees and their partners and families. In terms of impact, we found that amongst those new to area employees and their partners and families, they expressed a high intention to stay at least for 18 months or more. They spoke of having a positive experience of moving to the rural town, and there was early engagement from them with the community. In terms of the meso level, there was less burden on workplace and employers, and because of improved access to employee relocation support. And as a result of improved retention, we found there was a continuity of health services and health services growth, just like there had been in Marathon. At the macro level, we experienced more people moving to rural towns, so that having the Community Connector program was a great attractor. There was growth in community engagement by developing the program. There was growth in industry and local economy, and growth in the services available to the local community. The impact of the Community Connect program was influenced by these factors: that the role was a concierge service meeting both individuals and families' needs, and whatever needs needed to be met were met. The context for implementing the position is supportive of all those levels, micro, meso, and macro. That there's engagement and buy-in from all stakeholders, and that implementing an evidence-based strategy is vital for this, and that you need to take the steps in the order that we've outlined them, since they sort of build on each other. It's important there's sufficient resourcing of the position, and good governance of this coordinating committee is essential. So here's some results of some Community Connector programs that are currently operating. This is the one that was the pilot, one of the pilot programs in, and this is Glen Innes, which is in New South Wales. It's a small rural community, a population of about 9,000, and Monash modified model 5. In the 20 months it's been operating, for up until March 24, they had attracted 7 health professionals, including 2 GPs. This program was primarily set up to address GP workforce shortages, which was the key concern of the community when we started. A speech pathologist, pharmacist, RN, podiatrist, disability support. As well as attracting, they've also been involved in the support of settling and connecting and providing this concierge service to 38 new workers and their families. Just to speak about the impact of recruiting 2 GPs in a really short time, because it usually takes on average about 2 years to recruit a GP. This created an extra 4,570 additional hours, and 235 patients were taken off the GP waiting list. So all-round success in this program continues to grow stronger. As this is one of the doctors this was Dr. Hayder and his gorgeous family. He was in middle adulthood, but early career in medicine in Australia. He was an overseas newcomer, although he had been in Australia for a couple of years. His whole family relocated. And there were particular housing needs for this family, as well as support needs, as they had a child with special needs. So, and there was a double bonus here, as his wife was a pharmacist. So many of the things that were needed to support Hayder and his family to come were all dealt with through the Community Connector program. I'm sure many of you know that this program originally, the first place it started, because I was working in the Shepparton area, was in the Shepparton LGA, and it was led by council. And these are, Shepparton is in Victoria, and it's a very large regional town. And the program has a workforce, focuses on all workforce. And since January 21, when it started, it's had over 600 clients. 50% of those are in the health sector. It focuses on settle and connect services of highly skilled workers and their families, and also attract services for training and supporting local small to medium-sized enterprises with attraction strategies. When we did an evaluation in 2022 for this, these were some of what we found, that was nearly 8 out of 10 who had gone through the program were intending to stay greater than 18 months or more, and attributed the program to helping them make that decision. 100% of the participants had found housing, 75% of partners had secured employment, and 95% had secured suitable housing. So some really impressive results, given there's both schooling and significant housing shortages in the Shepparton region. So these are the sites we have so far operating in Australia, a couple in New South Wales, 2 in Victoria, 1 in Queensland, 1 in South Australia, and 1 soon to start in New Zealand. As well as that, the Attract Connect Stay, or the Community Connector program, and the Attract Connect Stay framework has influenced the New South Wales government in the operation of a whole of New South Wales program for supporting skilled workers called the Welcome Experience, and much of this research underpins that program as well. So I just want to talk about the Kickstarting the Community Connector program and step 1, ready. We're going to quickly go through the readiness checklist. I'll take you through the steps, but you really need to take it away, and you'll get this slide deck afterwards, and consider the questions I ask and complete later with more time and more thought. But we'll speed you through that now. So ready is the first part of the Community Connector program. As I said, there's 4 steps: ready, set, go, and next. But today we're going to focus on the ready part, which is deciding if the program is actually a good fit for your community. And so underpinning all of the Community Connector program, as I've mentioned before, is this community development approach. And a community development approach is about leveraging to strengthen rural healthcare and empowering locals utilising existing assets and fostering collective action. And why this matters is every rural community, although you've all got health workforce challenges, is unique, and we need to create a supportive environment unique to your context and ensure sustainable health workforce enhancements. We use an assets-based community development approach, which focuses on community strengths, encourages active participation and collaboration for continuous improvement and long-term success. So those sites that I showed you, myself and my team continue to work with them and support them to be evidence-based and informed, and help them with new strategies and policy and processes. In terms of the ABCD approach, some of these important steps are asset mapping, relationship building, mobilising collective efforts, and convening core groups and leveraging external resources. So over the process of establishing the program, you would go through all of those steps. This is what the Ready checklist looks like, but we're going to lay it out here as well. So the Ready checklist systemically evaluates community alignment, engagement and preparedness. It helps determine if the program can effectively address your local healthcare and social care workforce challenges. So the first step is to define your target community, and it's just important to define because everything subsequent, all the questions that relate to what area are we actually talking about and what sort of community. Factors to consider that it could be your local government area, it could be where your public services in the health and social care from state or federal are being delivered. It could be your community development focus and where there are good collaborations already happening. And we recommend that a local versus a broad approach tend to go smaller, but our key recommendation is to stay within your LGA boundaries, and this would give you the focused impact on local healthcare and social care. And just about every one of the ones that I'm presenting, those 7 that I showed you, are all working on a local government area basis. So we'd want you to reflect on what your target community is and what were the main factors underpinning this decision. So, you know, where do you think it would be best to locate? One of the ones that I do have is a very large, the Mid-Coast in New South Wales is a very large LGA. And they've, whilst they will be working in the future across the whole local government area, they did decide to start in one portion of that community, and that's a program that's currently operating in Taree, but it will expand as over the next couple of years. So there are different ways of doing it, but generally a local government area is a great way to start. So step 2 is about alignment, and it's around ensuring a good fit between the program and your community. And the focus is about population size and geographical classification. And alignment is about making sure that the Community Connector program is the right solution for your community and is capable of meeting your particular goals and challenges around workforce. So the questions are, does your target community have fewer than 1,000 residents? And is your target community classified as remote or very remote? And in Australia, this is the Monash modifier of levels 6 and 7. But the program is suitable for 2 to 5. And a no to those questions suggests a potential fit for the Community Connector program, and a yes to any prompts would be you need to reconsider the community boundaries or exploring other targeted strategies for your unique community, particularly if you're a remote community or a very small community. Particularly remote, I would suggest getting in contact. There are other models that I think would be better suited for that. I think the investment and scale of the program for remote and very remote for Community Connector is, it's not a good return on investment. So please get in contact and we can talk about other options for you. In terms of step 3, engagement. This is about assessing your community's readiness for this Community Connector program. And the focus here is on local healthcare and social care services that are in operation and what skilled workforce you currently have. Engagement underscores the community's capability and enthusiasm for embracing the Community Connector program. And signifies a readiness to collaborate. And so here's the questions for this one. Does your community utilise a comprehensive healthcare and social care service network spanning primary to tertiary levels? And workforce challenges is there persistent challenges in attracting and retaining university qualified health professionals within your community? Again, this is a program predominantly for newcomers, and this would be the workforce that you're trying to attract. If it's yes to both, it indicates, again, that the Community Connector program might be of benefit and that you're well placed for a collaborative approach. A no suggests that you need to either further discussions to identify specific needs or, again, alternative solutions to the Community Connect program. In terms of step 4, this is about preparedness. So you've defined your target community and then assess the sort of, do you meet the general criteria for whether this program is a good fit for your community? Now, this is about how ready your community is for it. And this, we look at social capital, collaboration, local government engagement, and local business support. And preparedness highlights your community's infrastructure, relationships, and the collective will to make the program happen. And so in terms of community social capital, how vibrant and cohesive is your target community's social network and civic participation? And we rate these in terms of levels of engagement. And so this is, the score from 0 to 4 is what we're looking at. In terms of local healthcare and social care services, how interconnected are your healthcare and social care services in your target community? Have these organisations successfully collaborated? And is there a demonstrated interest from the organisational leaders in collaborating on workforce strengthening strategies? So all of this needs to many discussions. So often it can take a good somewhere between 12 months and 2 years to do all this underpinning work. Local government engagement, has strengthening the healthcare or more generally the skilled workforce been identified as key local government priority? We'd really want to know that local government is committed to strengthening workforce. How engaged are your local government officials in these collaborative efforts? What level of commitment have local business shown towards improving staff's health and wellbeing? Are they committed to having healthcare in your community? And to what extent are local businesses willing to make sustained investments, either financial or in kind? Remember, this is a whole of community initiative, and we want to see other rural leaders and business leaders being committed to the program as well, if not actively involved. In terms of your preparedness results, after you've scored everything, if you scored either 4s or 3s against the 8 preparedness questions, that you're doing really well. Your target community is sufficiently prepared to implement the program, and you move on to the next part of the program. If you're scoring 2s or 1s or 0s, your target community is probably not yet ready to establish the Community Connector program. And as I said, preparedness can take time, and we would suggest you get in contact with us to explore our suggestions to how to help move that along. So if you want to learn more, we're running a program with me that starts on the 23rd of July. You can have a look here, and as well, there's a YouTube channel with more information, both about Attract, Connect, Stay program and framework, as well as the Community Connector program. including most recently some interviews that I went back and did with the Canada group around how they're experiencing becoming internationally famous in Australia with a program that a small rural town in Canada created. So you can apply to this program. I really encourage you to join me. If that doesn't suit you, there's also a do-it-yourself module, and there's a lot of flexibility in the program, so I really encourage you to check it out. Thanks so much for all your time. Thanks. Bye.